So today's webinar is hosted by Symposia Labs and McDaniels Marketing. We are so excited to talk to you about increasing visitor volume in 2021 through marketing automation. My name is Timothy Haynes, and I live here in Holland, Michigan. About 8 years ago, when Symposia was still in just its infancy, I was fortunate enough to do marketing for the City of Holland's downtown shopping district. Ever since then, I've been in love with marketing that drives tourism to this wonderful state of Michigan, and of course, some of the other wonderful states surrounding us as well.
Hello, my name is Randy McDaniels, and I'm the CEO and president of McDaniels Marketing, and I was really pleased to be able to do this webinar along with Shane Osborne, who will be introduced here in a moment, along with Timothy Haynes. The two firms have started an alliance to work together in the state of Michigan and beyond. And our full service marketing agency specializes in destination marketing. We've been doing that for quite some time. Our first event marketing work started in South Haven, Michigan, and that was all because my family and I took a trip up there. I kind of fell in love with the area, and then I reached out to the Bureau, and lo and behold, Lisa Marovic, who is actually from Pekin, Illinois, my hometown, was working in that Bureau. And so we started a partnership, and we did some work for South Haven, and we've been working together ever since. So it's kind of an interesting story on how we got connected to the Michigan Pike area and some of our work. So we're very, very happy to be talking to you today.
And my name is Shana Osborne, and I'm a digital marketing strategist here at McDaniels Marketing. I basically work with our clients that we get, specifically our tourism clients, to really get in-depth knowledge of what they're doing and what they're planning to get out of their marketing and help them build their strategy from there.
So Symposia's superpower is simple. We help scale up marketing teams that need strategic guidance and assistance in executing digitally minded marketing strategies. And we're so glad to have our wonderful partner on today's webinar.
So a little bit more again about McDaniels Marketing. We've been around a long time, actually since 1966. We're a family-owned agency, and we really kind of graduated out of the traditional ad agency space to become really an integrated marketing communications firm that does a lot of digital. There's no way we could do tourism if we didn't do digital well. We work with cities, counties, CVBs, lodging properties, and a lot of other organizations, provide that personalized marketing consultation and creative service that they need and that is proven to work. Then we have a digital division too that provides website development, pay-per-click, social media, SEO, and video development. So a wide range of services, and we work in a multi-state area, including Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, and Missouri. So, okay, so let's get started. So what's the challenge for today's tourism leadership? Well, 2020 is probably synonymous with the word challenge. So your challenge really is building a marketing plan around leisure. And it's going to be that way for a little bit longer. Hopefully, we'll see a return to meetings and events not too long from now, but for now, we've got to focus on building leisure travelers. So that's what we're going to dedicate quite a bit of our time today to focus on is how do you utilize marketing automation to do that. And it really starts with pushing out content that keeps visitors interested in your destination all year long. And one of the tactics that we deploy at McDaniels Marketing as well as Symposia is that we develop content calendars, and we build different touches and trigger points around those to be able to flow the content different people are interested in. And one of the challenges with a lot of convention and visitors bureaus is they have a tendency to have one email list for leisure. They send out the same email blast to every single person on that list, where they could change their focus to looking at their different audiences and what they're interested in. For example, if you look at this sample content calendar, and literally it is just a made up example that I developed, Look at the audiences down the left side: outdoor enthusiasts, beach goers, history buffs, foodies, beer buddies, architectural nuts. You'll see that the email content could be different according to those different target audiences. And then we could flow different blog content to match up with that. And then further support that with social posts and ads that are customized to those individuals, and then still retarget those individuals and families with Google display advertising. So we're going to really paint the picture of how this is all executed in this webinar today, but it all does really start with that content calendar and who your target audiences are. So marketing automation to avoid the dip. So let's face it, every destination sees up and downs during the off season. We all know that the lake destinations, in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Michigan, all those areas there really feed off the summer season from that May through, the end of the right around Labor Day. So this is where establishing a marketing automation system can help increase those touch points with past and potential visitors to boost those overnights and revenue all year long. And that's the big challenge, right? So why marketing automation? By automating your digital marketing approach, you can save time, money, and all that stress that comes with it. It's also can really help with overall scalability to provide the right information at the right time to those past and potential visitors. In other words, to be more efficient. If we have lower dollars, which we're going to deal with this environment for some time, lower hotel, motel, lodging tax, we've got to be more efficient in our strategy. So the key to the success is building relationships, delivering them that memorable content to those potential visitors, again, all year long when they need it. So we've all been a visitor to a new destination at one point or another, like I was talking about with South Haven and my connection to that area. So what drove you to visit that new place? Was it the food, the scenery, your friends posting their own experiences, or was it just something really cool? You passed through on your way to a different destination, you just decided to spend some time there. So there's a number of digital tactics that we can scale, we can bring to scale through automation. And it certainly does start with email marketing and newsletters, but we can't just depend on email marketing, especially with the filtration that exists with emails. But the more customized, the more they are, the more they come from people that work within the CVB, the more effective they are. Google Ads and retargeting will cover social media, organic and paid, content marketing and blogs and how that fits in, and then landing pages dedicated to specific areas of visitor interest.
Yeah, so first we're going to dive into email marketing and newsletters. So email marketing is wonderful. It's a really good program that you can utilize to make sure you're hitting people during peak season and your off season. One thing we really like to recommend is during peak season, use this time to grow your email list. So you have a lot of visitors, make sure you're pushing out, encouraging people to sign up for your email list so you can hit them when it's off season and when people are dreaming of visiting a warmer destination or really planning their trips. One thing we also recommend is promoting beyond e-news. So things that we want to highlight in email is highlighting top restaurants in the area, hotel promotions, lifestyle focused blogs, and events in town. And we'll dive into that a little bit in these next couple slides. So one of the first things we wanted to point out was highlighting deals from top restaurants. Something that every visitor loves is food. I know for myself, I visit a lot of locations just simply because they have good restaurants in the area. The cool thing about promoting food via email is that you can incorporate some of the local restaurants in your town, and you can encourage some of the businesses to participate within that. And by participating in that, they can encourage past and potential visitors to support some of the local spots. And it really just helps everything be a more cohesive thing where you can include some of the places that are involved in things like the chamber and have local hotspots in town.
This strategy also represents a revenue potential for a convention visitors bureau to be able to charge something for these spaces in emails and ads. And we're all going to have to depend on alternative revenue sources as we move forward through this COVID environment.
Yeah, and with this one, it's a very visual way of advertising your location. We all see a good picture of food and we're hungry within minutes. So it's a really nice way to visually market some of the local places in town. Another thing we want to make sure that we're promoting is hotel and lodging promotions. So we all know that Airbnb has become more and more popular, and part of it's just because we see it so often. We see the cool houses people are staying at, but we all know that it's really important to continue to promote the hotels in the area. Making sure that you're promoting them in a way that is appealing to the eye and people can really see what they have to offer. So for hotels, typically breakfast is included. There's a cool pool down the hall. There's a lot of good things that you can promote with hotels. So it's important to make sure that that's all a part of your overall marketing strategy. And another thing is just the more that you promote it, the more people are going to be booking their rooms there. And we know that overall that helps with the tax-paying lodging properties and helps feed into your destination.
And we did show an example of a Marriott Bonvoy ad. That's actually an ad that I was served up from being on their site. Of course, I'm a Marriott Rewards customer, but they do probably the best job of retargeting after you've gone to their site and just looked around. And all I did was literally just search and look around at hotels in Vegas, and I got served this ad probably about a week later as a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to the hotel brands. They probably do marketing better than anybody else to beckon people back and to get them to make the decision to go ahead and book a room.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that we recommend promoting via email is blog promotion. So the one that we highlighted here is an itinerary plan. So the cool thing about blogs is they're very lifestyle focused. They make you almost imagine that you're experiencing this with the person that writes this blog. So the one thing about blogs is a lot of people have them, but a lot of people just have them housed on their website and they're not actively promoting them. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing marketing automation to help serve this trendy lifestyle focused content and give your visitors it when they need it. If it's a fall blog focused on a road trip, you want to make sure that you're pushing it in the fall time and helping encourage people to book their trip around that time. So the cool thing is similar to the emails prior, it's very visual. It helps you really imagine that you're there, and you can see at the top, they highlight some of the Instagram posts that other people are talking and posting about, which really shows that your destination is a place that people are actively going to and actively really enjoying their time at your location. So your entire automation program is driven by a content calendar and moments of engagement by your fan base that trigger marketing messages, which are crafted to motivate them to ultimately book their trip.
All right, Tim?
If you're still just sending out that one email newsletter a month to your entire subscriber list, then it's time to talk about some magic tech sauce that will help you cook up automations that move the needle. Marketing automations are ultimately an easy way to save money on staff time and also to potentially reduce advertising expenses. This can be especially important when revenue or capacity on your team is tight, which of course has not been a problem this year with all of the wonderful adventures that 2020 has brought. So you know on a serious note that you want to take marketing automations to the next level, but where in the world do you begin? You begin with mining your database. We use a variety of tools to mine our database. One of the tools that we use is called Tower Data. Tower Data's email intelligence tool, which does cost just a little bit of money, can enrich your existing data with demographic information such as gender, income, location, and other important information that might be missing from your list. I want to also talk to you about another enrichment tool in action called Apollo. Now, there are a variety of tools such as Apollo, but what Apollo and some of the other tools like it will do is they will add instantly social media URLs and other missing social data to your existing list. So, for example, if I have an ongoing list of leads and I want to know how to find those same leads on social media networks, this tool offers a shortcut. Social media URLs can be added then to tasks for social media engagement. so that you can optimize the way you're spending your time on social media management, and they can even be connected to carefully thought out social media automations, such as a LinkedIn engagement bot. Woo! So workflows and automations are both based on triggers, and those triggers are usually a result of data. We like to build them out ahead of time so that they run like a well-oiled machine behind the scenes. In many ways, workflows and automations both live in the if this, then that world, meaning if this happens, then that will happen next. And of course, that's exactly what a trigger is. However, there are 3 different types of triggers, and one of them is especially adventurous. The first trigger, information intentionally shared by the user, is the most commonly spoken about trigger. A good example of this would be when someone in our audience subscribes to a specific type of content, perhaps around food. Think back to those personas and audiences we were looking at earlier. So favorite types of places to eat, places that we live, this is often information that is intentionally being shared with us. What about the second one? Information that is automatically being shared isn't necessarily being shared knowingly. A really simple example of this, we can keep track of the referral URLs that people ending up on our list originate from. This would allow us to instantly know information such as what pages on the site they might be most interested in, what sections or topics on the site they might be most interested in. We can then take that information and use it to further customize our marketing and communication strategy. The enriched data, that third one, is the piece that we talked about just a little bit earlier. Using tools such as Apollo or Tower Data, or a vast list in addition to those, we can enrich data and learn more by running it through automated algorithms. These 3 different types of triggers combined consist of most of the opportunities to automate your marketing. I think it will be fun, though, to take a look at a simple email drip so that we can understand this better. So in this example, we started with a welcome video, and then we used an email automation alongside of Facebook lookalike audiences. Remember talking about those not too long ago? Well, the content added value. And by adding that value, we then earn the right to suggest special offers and to make attempts to create conversions through marketing-focused CTAs or call to action. And you can kind of see here, starting in email 1, they get a video, then they get segment-specific content. Maybe they've identified themselves as a foodie, so we're sending them content that is particularly of interest to them. We continue to send them automated content. A really simple way to trigger an automation like this is to make the trigger be the actual act of posting the blog. So perhaps every time someone in the foodie category posts a blog post on our site, that triggers the next email drip. Or perhaps we consolidate some of those blogs into an automated monthly email. Either way, eventually we earn the right to offer some sort of special opportunity or discount. This is where we're pushing for an actual conversion. And then, of course, if they don't take that opportunity, we then toggle back to content that adds value. Now, this is a very simple example of an email drip. Usually, a good email drip will look even more complicated than this. A simple second layer to add to this existing visual, what if we sent an email to everyone that opened the first email that offer them something special? And what if we sent an email to everyone who didn't open the first email, some sort of extra reason for doing so? So each step can result in more steps. That's the fun of automations. Let's dive a little bit deeper and look behind the scenes. The email marketing automations that we were looking at in the previous slide were happening in Pardot, or Pardot if you're a Target sort of person. Those automations happening in Pardot were driven by an automated workflow inside of Salesforce. As you likely know, or as you may not know, Salesforce and Pardot are part of the same ultimate tech stack. So they work in conjunction together. Salesforce, the CRM, or the customer management database, made sure that the leads were passed along to a visitor services team member. And then, of course, that visitor services team member reached out and tried to develop a personal relationship through social media and or traditional channels. All of this is happening behind the scenes automatically. So how do we know that this is actually working? Come to think of it, how do we know that any of our marketing is actually working? Well, I want to talk to you about a few opportunities for making sure that your marketing is doing what you think it is doing. Many of you are already using Google Analytics. I would encourage you, though, to also make sure that you're using tools such as Google Tag Manager, Google Data Studio, and also third-party tools. Google certainly doesn't own this corner of the tracking and metric market. Third-party tools are also of interest. Some of our favorite third-party tools are Hotjar. That's a great heat mapping tool. Together, these tools can help us better diagnose what content is working and what content is not working. They can also help us better diagnose what the ROI on our campaigns actually is. And we like to look at ROI on each step of the digital marketing sales funnel. So let's imagine then that we're measuring things well, we're proving out conversions. What else do we need to keep in mind here as we look into taking marketing automations to the next level? Well, ultimately, if we take our data and sync it across multiple platforms so that it is truly unified between, for example, an email marketing automation platform and, for example, a CRM, such as we talked about with Pardot and Salesforce, if that data is truly unified, it will allow us to have a 360 view of every single person that enters as a lead. This allows us to ultimately better serve them, and it also allows us to do a better job of converting them into paying customers. There are, of course, other digital tactics, and I want to hand it back off to my friends to take the lead on that.
Yeah, so like Tim was saying, your email marketing program is extremely important, but the best way for it to be a cohesive 360-foot view of a very strong marketing plan is really to incorporate some other digital tactics along with your email program. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Google Ads and retargeting. So as we all know, Google has a wonderful platform and you can run things called display and search ads on them. Both of them play a vital role in overall marketing success and really help automate and make sure that you can build a solid marketing plan that you don't constantly have to be updating and changing, and you can really make sure that it's strategic and you're targeting the right people at the right time. So what's the difference? The difference in search and display ads are, for search, we like to call them a pull strategy. So it's really pushing the content out to people who are interested in and are already actively looking and searching for what you have to offer. And then display is called a push strategy, and you're pushing your content out to build awareness, and you're where people might not intentionally be looking for you, but you're showing up where they are constantly searching, like places like the Weather Channel or YouTube. Strategies that coincide with Google are, it's really important to link your Google Analytics. So marketing is wonderful and it's great, but it's nothing unless you can track it and report on it and make sure that you're seeing that ROI and that return on investment. So it's extremely important to link your Google Analytics to your website and to all of your Google marketing that you're running. This is vital to tracking overall results and landing page performance. So ultimately, you want to make sure that you're able to see who's going where on your website and seeing what ads are really performing the best. Another thing is conversion tracking. Conversion tracking is wonderful for tracking things like lead forms if someone is requesting a visitor's guide to your destination, phone calls if they're calling the visitor's guide or the visitor center to book their trip, experience based. So if there's a landing page that you're pushing people to from Google and you're pushing them to your blog, you can see, okay, who spent more than 2 minutes reading this blog? Really being able to track how many people are doing that. If there are other pages that have events focused, you can really see exactly who's going where on your website and be able to track that and make sure you're constantly updating content and providing a valuable end user experience. Another thing it's important for is seeing who's actually downloading your visitors guides. So maybe they're looking at your visitors guide and looking at everything you have to offer, but those who are actually downloading your visitors guide or requesting them typically means that they are planning their trip. So then you can use your Google ads and piggyback that with some email marketing and make sure that you're helping them plan their trip and following up and hitting them when they need it and where they need it. Another thing that we always recommend is retargeted ads. So retargeted ads go hand in hand with email marketing as well. You can retarget people based on their visits to specific landing pages, retarget them based on the content that they're opening up via email, and really just utilizing it to your advantage to make sure that you're really doing that follow-up and getting people when they're looking for you and making sure within the next couple days that they're actually booking their trip if they're searching your destination. Up on the screen, we have 3 examples of display ads. So display ads are similar to email marketing, extremely visual. You have a short period of time where you need to really get a solid quality image and then some copy that pairs well with it. And we always recommend including your logo as well so everyone can identify your destination and really what you're promoting. So to the left, we have one for Champaign County, which is a place in Illinois, and we just talk about finding your roots. And the second one is for Pulaski County, Missouri, and they're really well known for Route 66. So we wanted to make sure that we actively promoted one of the hot spots in Pulaski County. And especially with COVID, it was wonderful that we were able to promote an outdoor activity that families could do and still be safe during. And then the last one is for Quad Cities, and it's Where Eagles Fly. So next we're going to talk about social media, both organic and paid. Organic Facebook and Instagram is awesome. Everyone uses it. Everyone's on it almost every day and sometimes a little bit too much. But the wonderful thing for this platform as well is, like mentioned earlier, it's extremely visual. So most of us use it because it helps satisfy our need for connection, empowerment, and inspiration, especially during times of COVID. As a destination, it is so important to be there, really mainly because people are on it every single day and there's so many opportunities to promote your destination and promote the cool spots that you have to offer. You always want to make sure that you're creating content that feeds into this to help inspire potential visitors and even past visitors to book another weekend with you. And to the right, we have an example of LeClaire, Iowa, and one of their posts that they posted and that performed extremely well. And what they did for this was promote one of the local ice cream shops. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it makes me want to go get an ice cream sandwich. It looks great, very visual. They provide some valuable information, what the shop is called, how long it's open for the day, and it's extremely visual and short and sweet and really gets the point across in a quick manner. All right, where do you start with organic Facebook and Instagram. So the most important thing is lifestyle focused content. Your post should be about what you have to offer at your destination, because ultimately you want people to see it and be like, we need to go there. Next is being engaging as a destination. So encourage people to post about your destination, encourage them to participate in your post, to share their pictures. The more engagement and participation, the better, the more that people will see your content and the better engagement that you'll have overall. Another thing is sharing stories of your location from other trusted sources like Visit Michigan or any other of the surrounding states. So everyone has their own Facebook and Instagram page. It's extremely important to make sure that you're sharing from other sources, because that also encourages them to share about your destination as well. The next is utilizing user-generated content. So as much as we would all like to have the time and money to go take photos and videos all the time of all the hotspots, odds are most people at your destination are already taking those photos and videos. So utilize that, whether it's having a trendy hashtag that really signifies your location. Make sure that you're utilizing the pictures and the photos and the videos that people are already taking to help share and show stories and experience and let people experience your destination through these social media channels. And lastly, you want to piggyback your organic strategy with a paid social media strategy. Organic social media and everything is wonderful, but it really doesn't perform as well as you would like it to until you put a little bit of money behind it. So next is Facebook and Instagram ads. These ad platforms help scale overall results faster and in a much more efficient manner. Like I said before, organic Facebook and Instagram is wonderful, but it's a lot easier to make sure that you're targeting the right people and really building that overall destination awareness by putting a little bit of money behind it. Some strategies that we wanted to highlight today for Facebook advertising is really defining your target audience. So who are the people that are most likely to book a trip? Odds are, if you're looking for people to travel for just a weekend getaway, the places that you'll be targeting aren't going to be maybe in California or Texas. It might be people that are a couple hours away that can really just have a short drive over to your location. But then maybe some places it is people in states that are a little bit further away. But you want to really pinpoint who are those people who are most likely to book there. We recommend highlighting the locations that people are most commonly traveling from, the ages that you're really looking to target, interest, and there's a lot more different targeting that Facebook has to offer. One of the examples that we wanted to provide was frequent travelers in Michigan. So there might be someone that comes and visits Mackinac Island often, and you want them to maybe stop by your location on their way to their trip. So being able to really target that overall Michigan area is super important to getting people and encouraging them to visit your destination. Next is custom audience and remarketing ads. So like I mentioned earlier, Facebook and email really do play hand in hand. You can utilize email addresses from your email marketing strategy and pull them into Facebook Ads Manager and make sure that you're hitting them a second time and serving them the content that they might not be seeing in email, but you want to provide them through Facebook. This also helps by targeting already warm traffic to really get them to pull the trigger on booking a weekend getaway to your destination. Another thing that's wonderful with custom audiences and remarketing ads is you can target users who visit specific landing pages. So if someone was looking at your fall blog and you wanted to encourage them to go visit an apple orchard in the area or any of your fall locations and hotspots that you have, you can target those people who have visited those pages and have spent a decent amount of time on them. Next is lookalike audiences. So you can target a Facebook audience that resembles the most loyal customers and visitors or people who have already engaged with your ad campaigns and use that to get some more warm traffic from people who are also likely to book a trip at your destination. And then over here on the left-hand side, you can see just kind of what it looks like when you're setting up an ad and when you're targeting. You can pinpoint certain locations, different mile radiuses, different age groups, their gender, even their language. There are so many opportunities to really pinpoint exactly what your target audience is. And another awesome thing is Facebook makes it easier to change as you learn more about who exactly your target audience is. And then this just shows a little bit more. So creating a custom audience, you can see what kind of engagement are they having with you. Are they watching your videos? Are they going to certain landing pages? It just really makes it easy to make sure you're hitting the right people at the right time. And then on screen, we have two examples of some Facebook ads that we have run in the past. So obviously these are a little bit more COVID specific, and it's wonderful because people can still see that they can eat safely, even during these tough times. And then the one on the right-hand side is promoting Route 66, like I mentioned earlier, just an outdoor attraction that people can still go to during this time.
Thank you, Shana. Wanted to talk a little bit about landing pages. We've been, hitting that term quite a bit throughout this webinar. And landing pages, of course, are all, so focused now versus sending all your traffic to your homepage and letting them try to figure it out from there. Is you want to build the landing pages as a core part of the content strategy, and then you can use marketing automation to flow through those individuals through those landing pages to drive them to action. So those should include embedded videos and original content written for that audience and really engaging photography. You can even A/B test those pages to understand visitor engagement and kind of rearrange the content at times, especially when you're developing new websites. Here's an example of actually a microsite that we developed for Galena, which is in the northwest corner of Illinois, a very famous leisure destination. And Shana's going to go ahead and click into this. But this is a microsite specifically in a magazine format. So it actually lives outside the realm of their regular website. And it actually was built upon like an issue format. In other words, if you click into a trip through time, you'll see that there are specific articles written to tell the story of that area and how it was passed by the glaciers, yet frozen in time. That's actually an area that was not flattened by the kettle moraine, glaciers that went through Wisconsin. It was mist, and that's why it's so hilly and so interesting. And so we told that story through beautiful photography and custom written content, and also incorporated videos throughout the microsite as well, with these clever little buttons that you can click on and watch very, very short videos that are incorporated into each individual page. And then as you get down to the bottom, you have the option after you read, keep going, there's quite a bit there. There's an actual connectivity to connect to part 2. So you can keep reading and take in even more. So then here's a story about tiny houses and life in Galena. They actually had these little tiny houses where all the miners that mine the lead in Galena actually lived in. They actually have replicas of those cottages in Galena that you can actually go see. They're really neat. There they are right there, that second photo. You can actually visit and look at how the miners back in those days lived, with Galena being the largest city of Illinois for quite some time until lead mining died off, and then Chicago kind of took over. But so this is an example of something really out of the box. I'm not going to play all the videos for the sake of time, but you can see that we had an issue on art through the eyes of the artist, another one on food, and this is what you'd call highly original content presented in a manner that's really creative. Not hard sell in any way, but something people can take and have an immersive experience through a web page that drives them to action. And then, of course, everything's linked back to their regular website where they can search for hotels and itineraries and start booking a trip. But we first introduce people to the story of the area versus just trying to say, hey, of course, you need to come here, just book a trip. There's some steps in the marketing puzzle before people get to that point when they're not familiar with an area. So we wanted to share this with you today. It's a real good example of content marketing. Here's another one. So this is just a regular page on Visit Champaign County. Champaign County is the home of University of Illinois. So that's Champaign-Urbana, little twin cities in the mid-central part of Illinois. They actually did something really cool with their website is they incorporated blog content that's actually flows into different pages depending on what the subject matter is. So if they have blogs that they write on arts and culture, then those specific blog articles will flow into those pages that are tagged for that subject matter. So again, if you were to run a digital campaign involving email marketing, different triggers that show people interested in art and culture, we're running Google ads or Facebook boosted posts. These are the type of pages we can push people to, and they're dynamic, and they're always having new content on them automatically, which also helps the Google quality score of these pages because they're always changing. Again, they've got fresh content coming into them, but on an automated basis. So blog posts flowing into a landing page, automated, booyah, right? That's really, you want to make things easy, use the technology to your advantage. And then you want to leave a lasting impression. So does any of this work? I mean, you look at, the fan base, measuring what different groups are looking at your content, who are they, how old are they, what are they interested in, and then take a look at, some of your data, like for example, with Facebook top messages. Look at your overall engagements. And these 3 for Leclerc are really good examples of solid engagement. When you have over 1,000 engagements on an ad, that's really solid, or a boosted post. And one other thing I do want to add is that engagement with business pages on social media is about 2% with the average customer. It's really low unless you're boosting. So if you're putting a lot of content out and you're expecting a lot of people to see it without putting at least $25 behind it, you're not going to get a lot of people looking at it or sharing it. So it's vital to have that boosting budget and be able to target those individuals that would make the most sense to look at that content. So some key takeaways: making your marketing more personal. So using words like you and your to create a more friendly voice that makes potential visitors feel like you're talking directly to them. That's really key in all of this, is that we can't forget about creativity and messaging. We can use all the automated technology we want, but if our messaging isn't compelling and our content isn't compelling, then we're not going to get anywhere. And you want to keep your messages short and sweet and visual. You notice that in a lot of the ads that Shayna shared, they really pop, they're quick, not trying to communicate too much, good hashtag usage in posts. Less copy, more photos, more videos, more images that help the visitors imagine themselves at your destination. And be seasonal with your efforts. And certainly Michigan can't be any more seasonal, but what works in the wintertime may not work in the summer. We know that. So be strategic. There's never really a one-size-fits-all approach. And I think that's the main point of this webinar, is that through automation, you're not using one approach to every individual group. Because as you saw, if you relate all the way back to that content calendar in the beginning, look at all those different demographic and psychographic groups that make up a leisure audience. It's not one leisure audience. It could be 5, 6, 7, 8 different types of people. So take advantage, lastly, of user-generated content. One of the aspects that I've always preached is you ultimately win the game in social media if you have your visitors posting their content and doing the marketing for you. So if you've built such a fan base that their content, and I'm talking photos, their videos being shared, and even situations where you reach out to them and say, hey, we love that photo you posted, can we use it? We have multiple clients that reach out to visitors and gather their photos and videos with permission and then reuse them again, because sometimes that stuff is amazing and there's people in it. That's the other key. So the more you involve your visitor, the better. So I wanted to hit a few of these takeaways because we didn't focus as much on messaging, but we all know that if we don't have powerful content, none of the automation will work. So you definitely always want to remember that. So how do you get started? Well, hopefully we've given you some tips on how to get started in marketing automation, but you can also get started by calling us or asking questions now. So we'll open it up.